Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about the newly released prompt caching with Claude. So what prompt caching does is it not only reduces the latency for really long prompts, for example, a long document that you input into a system message or something like that, it also reduces the cost by 90%. So as you can see, normally 3.5 Sonnet, the input token cost is $3 per token, but if you use caching, then there's a one-time $3.75 cache fee. But after that, instead of $3 per million tokens, you actually pay 30 cents per million tokens, which means for a 200K context window, if you almost fill it up, then you're paying 6 cents per 6 or 7 cents, 6 cents per chat message rather than 60 cents. Like that's the 9% discount. It doesn't affect the output token price. We will be taking a look at code examples plus the documentation, but what is this good for? For example, conversational agents. You can reduce the latency for extended conversations. You can apply caching to the actual conversation itself, not only the system message for a long document. Coding assistant, you can improve autocomplete and code base by keeping a summarized version of the code base in the prompt. Large document processing, incorporate complete long form material, which is what we will do. You can also include images, I suppose. Detailed instruction sets, agentic search and tool use. You can use this with tools as well. Talk to books and papers. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to talk to a book. But before we continue, let's take a look at the prompt caching examples from the documentation so I can explain to you how it works. Then we're going to take a look at an example where we load an entire book of 196,000 tokens, and we're going to chat with it, and we're going to see the cost difference. I've also updated my unified class with cache example. We're going to take a look at how we can use that simply by just setting some parameters to true. Makes it very easy. Simple examples, such as the cache chat, is freely available at my Patreon. Link will be in the description, but the unified with cache plus the chat that goes along with it, which allows you to talk to, this particular book with any book that is very long, actually, for a 90% discount will be available for architect patrons. That will be available at the description as well. But let's take a look. So to create a cache, instead of calling the regular create endpoint, you call the prompt underscore caching endpoint. So remember that. Then everything else remains the same, the model mixed token, except when you're passing the system message, you pass it as a list. And then the object, you can pass in multiple messages, but here, for example, this is the long text. Insert like you insert here a long document, and now you just input the cache control, type ephemeral. That's it. And then you can do everything else as you normally would do. This will only cache the long document that you've inserted into the system message. And then, this will have been cached. And after the initial wait, your latency will go drastically lower, plus your cost will go down by 90%. You can also use this with function calling. When you do function calling, you add all your tools and you add the cache control as a key to the final tool. And that will also cache all your tools. If you have many tools, as you know, that goes into the system message and costs you tokens. So if you use cache control, you're also saving 90% there, and the rest of it remains the same. But don't forget, we are using the prompt underscore caching and the beta. Now another important thing is continuing a multi-turn conversation. So you can cache long text in the system message like this. But let's say you're working with a really long conversation and you wanted to cache the conversation as well and save some costs on that as well. Now, what you can do is whenever you want to cache the conversation so far, in the next user message, you insert this cache control text. So as you can see, the content now is not just some text, but it's a list of type text and the text of the thing you're sending, plus the cache control. When you do that, the assistant will be returned, and now you can do this again. Now, the caveat is that you can do this cache control only up to 4 times within a single call. So, meaning when you cache up to a certain point, I guess you'd have to remove this key, right? And then set it as the last wherever you want the cache to happen. So I actually programatized this. So both the cache chat and the cache unified chat will actually do this every so cache interval. You can set it to one, but that's not recommended because the original initial caching actually costs you a little bit extra. But maybe you wanted to cache the conversation every 100 conversation turns or 10 for that matter. Then this will automatically actually add cache control to the user message and it'll actually check every other message and remove it. So you won't run into an error if you accidentally insert more than 4 cache controls. So this works great. Let's take a look. So let's take a look at the simple example. And then, like I said, this example will be available for free at Patreon. The more advanced example, along with the unified class that actually has cache control built in, will be available for my Architect Plus patrons. The link to both will be in the description. But now, if you run this, then we immediately get the type of message. I can say summarize this, and while this is working, so the first message takes longer. Normally, when your context is getting very long, your latency actually goes up naturally. So the book that we're dealing with is the Arthur Schopenhauer's World as Will and Representation, book one, actually. Just picked that because that seemed long enough. Now, this book is actually over 200,000 tokens, so I created a script that uses tick token to trim it. So you can use this for other purposes too, but the ChatGPT tokenizer is not the same as Anthropic tokenizer, so that's why I did it to 190,000 tokens, which then here amounts to 196,000 tokens. So we actually got an answer from the assistant summarizing the entire book. And if you look here, yeah, in our first message, we used 196,000 cache creation input tokens. So this actually cost us at this point something like 60, 70 cents. And we got the output tokens. But at this point, we've we have spent so it says 70, we have spent 74 cents. Otherwise, we would have spent 60 cents. So the first message is more expensive. But after that, if we were to ask it other questions, just going to ask, is this compatible with Buddhism? So remember that for each message we're sending almost 200,000 tokens. Okay, we got an answer. Now we didn't create any additional input tokens. The cache read input tokens was 196,000. But see, normally now if you look here, this message without caching would have cost us 60 cents, but now it's actually costing us 6.5 cents. So that's almost 90% discount that we're getting there. So that's how you save money, and your latency also has dropped by almost 80%. If we look here, actually, I can set the cache interval to 1 so we can see how that works. So that is to say, we're not only going to cache the entire book, but we're also going to cache the conversation at every turn, which is not recommended, of course, but just to demonstrate. In our previous run, this was set to 10. Okay, we have created the cache. Oh, the cache for, okay, see the cache for input tokens was already created. Even though we ran this script again, our cache is stored in the cloud and the lifetime for the cache is actually 5 minutes. If you read through the documentation, the cache is a lifetime of 5 minutes. Lifetime resets itself every time you send a message to it. So meaning if you're continually having a conversation with that book, in this case, this 5 minute continually resets. But if you don't use it, then this cache will be deleted and you have to recreate the cache. You can, of course, think of strategies to send occasional messages and extend the lifetime of the cache if you thought that was beneficial and financially wise. But the important thing here is that even though we just sent a single message, see, we've also created a new cache with 6 tokens that probably included our message. Now, if I send another message here, we will see that we will create new cache input tokens and also our read input tokens will have increased by a little bit. So here we go. So the cache creation input tokens is now 292 because it includes the hi plus the hello, how can I assist you today, plus the system message which we have already cached. And as you can see, each call is costing us about 10% of what it would have normally cost. Instead of 59 cents, it's costing us 6 cents. So this is the beauty of caching. I think it's very useful. I think Anthropic did this the right way, in my opinion. So this is how it works. Like I said, this will be available for free if you become a free Patreon member. But now let's take a look at unified with cache. So I've added use cache parameter, cache interval for caching the conversation. And you can also print the cache usage as we are doing right here. This won't print the dollar cost amount, but it will print the information as far as the read and cache tokens. And also here is a cache unified simple. So to actually do this, all you have to do is import the unified APIs, which is just a class I've created to be able to talk with Gemini, GPT-4o, and 3.5 Sonnet in a much more convenient way. You can change the model names as well. I highly recommend this. Actually, if you wanted to know more about this, you can watch my unified video. I go into detail, but I've improved it since then. And watch my 6 apps in 15 minutes video, which uses unified to build apps super quick. I highly recommend it. But essentially, to use this, it's very easy with the unified class because I already have implemented all the necessary methods. All you have to do is when you're initializing unified API, set use cache to true, set your cache interval, see if you want to print cache usage, and then you read whatever content you want to read, and you set the system message. The set system message method automatically sets it for caching as long as you have enabled use cache. So that's just a simple case, which will be this will be available to my architect level patrons along with the unified cache. This cache chat unified does the exact same thing as this cache chat, but using the unified class. That's all. So if you're an architect level patron, you can download this and play around with it, but it essentially does the same exact thing. Now, if you use this with this unified with cache, you can actually implement caching as well. Yeah. If you're enjoying my content, do check out my website, echohive.live. There's a convenient search functionality. And if you're a patron, you'll have access to all of these files depending on your membership level. Architect patrons get access to all my projects. Not only that, architect level patrons also gets to talk to me every week in our weekly AMA and live coding sessions, and they can ask me questions. If you would like to be able to do something like that, uh, consider becoming a patron. Also, in my 1000x masterclass, I teach others how to code really fast using Cursor. I've been doing this for over 3,000 hours. So when you become a patron, you'll have access to my Stav Masterclass. I currently have 15 real-time build projects. Each one of these zip files, such as Swarm Intelligence Persona Memory Extractor, contains the full build video along with the code files. So there's quite a lot of perks. Actually, speaking of perks, I just started offering my patrons perks. The first one was by Boring Lunch. For example, my architect level patrons get $70 off from them. I'm not with them. They just wanted to offer a discount and hopefully get some business in return from my patrons. They actually, if you have a startup, they automatize of them to 100 plus platforms. And the next one actually is going to be Mana Flow. So this is a really interesting Y Combinator lounge backed by Y Combinator. It automates long competitive work that fits in tables. This is really interesting. Check out some of their examples. So they're going to be offering $100 off to my architect level patrons. So you get quite a lot of benefits for becoming a patron. But that's it for that. Like I said, the simple code files for this will be available for free at my Patreon. The complex ones with the unified will be available for my Architect Plus patrons. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.